much blood in the street. I seen too many die. So many real ones we lost. Only one question why. I got some pain in my heart. You look me in my eye. I pray to God make it rain so you don't see me cry. Fall of America. I pray the rain fall down and you don't see me cry. Fall of America. Yeah, I pray the rain on me. A blessing from God. Anointed with power, give me power, I'm God. Pick up the phone, yeah, I'm calling for Rod. Send the mothership, I'm ready to fly. It won't be long before they wake up and die. It's time to change, look them dead in the eye. Moses was given to him for a light and a guide. Jesus was in the land, all wisdom declined. 400 years of hate and slavery conquered divine. All original, so you know I'm first and divine. You was given 6,000 years, 100 over your time. In addition, on one condition, let the black man rise. Tuskegee was your experiment, the devil's a lie. Gain a function, new strains from the lab in Wuhan. You know your history, I cool graph the devil blue eye. You hate looking at the black man with your two eyes. I pray it rain on me, rain on me. Watch the pain on me, rain on me, rain on me. Fall of America. I've been feeling the kind of way I want you to know. All this pain in my heart, I don't need no more. I pray it rain on me. Fall of America. Rain on me. Yeah. Blood in the streets, blood on your sneaks. You stand before the people, blood on your meat. Blood on the carpet, blood on your feet. Capitalize on black targets that look like me. Hire me to kill me, Nip rest in peace. They seen God in the soldiers, so they stopped his dreams. Prisons and politicians all a part of the team. Judges handing our time, prosecutors with schemes. Commissions, long sentences, mandate vaccines. Physicians with ill intentions, only orange to green. Not to mention I got sense and you convince us to dream. Depopulation conversation, yeah, Satan on the scene. It's time to call it out. You a guy, stick your chest out. Too many died, no lie. Like karma retired. Mama cried, time to ride. You wanna know why? Kill a black man, a white man, 4th of July. It's so much blood in the street. I seen too many die. So many real ones we lost. Only one question why. I got some pain in my heart. You look me in my eye. I pray to God make it rain so you don't see me cry. Fall of America. I pray the rain fall down and you don't see me cry. Fall of America. Yeah, I pray the rain on me. Rain on me. Watch the pain on me. Rain on me. Rain on me. Yeah, I've been feeling that kind of way. I want you to know. All this pain in my heart, I don't need no more. I pray it rain on me. Rain on me. Fall of America.
Dear family, it's your cousin P, so black and so beautiful. We're gonna get some people in this room and start to share this podcast. How y'all feeling out there, dear family? First and foremost, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is his last and greatest apostle. I thank you for Jesus and the gospel, Moses and the Torah, Muhammad for the Holy Quran. Peace and blessings be upon these mighty giants that came before us, yet to guide all of us on the right path. In their righteous and holy names, I greet you all, dear family, in the divine greetings of peace, which is needed on the planet at this time and climate. Peace. But there will be no more peace on the planet, according to Scripture and Holy Quran and God's man in our midst, Minister Louis Farrakhan. The Armageddon has begun. In their righteous and holy names, dear family, I greet you in the Arabic language, which is the original language of the black man and black woman and all the prophets that came. The Arab language is not an Arabic language, Arab's language. The Arab man and Arab woman are not the original people of the planet. The black man and black woman are the original people of the planet. And if we talk about Arabic, Jesus spoke Arabic in Hebrew. He didn't understand English because English was not a language during the coming and departure of Jesus the Christ. So with that said, dear family, the podcast is going to begin. I have 3 books with me to prove, and not only to prove, but to make you become a critical thinker in this such terrible time that we're in. I have this book that was written by Willie Lynch, and it talks about we have to take their language from them. I'm going to show it to you. It says control their language. I'm going to read it to you. Control their language. I've been telling y'all that we've been round of a name, a culture, a heritage, and a religion, and given the opposite. Dear family, what I'm about to say is a scholarly teaching, meaning that the great scientists of this world prophesied, and this is why Scripture reveals of the 24 elders, but one will come with the anointed power to raise one from among us in a critical hour that Satan will be doing his work. So today's podcast is, did God create devil? And why did God create devil? To the Christian family, to the Buddha family, to all those out there, I want you to pay clear attention. Pay attention to the clear revelation that God has blessed me to study, and inshallah, God willing, I deliver it in a manner in which you understand it. My purpose is to do exactly what I'm doing. And I intend, by the grace of Allah, to deliver the message. Let's get people in the room and I will start. Did God create devil? No. God did not create devil. God made devil. What's the difference in making something and creating something? To create is to take the very essence of the universe and produce something from nothing. Create. To make something is to take what's here and collectively grab ingredients to produce and make what you desire. I made breakfast. So you took eggs, you took potatoes, and you took what was already here to make you a meal. You didn't create any of it from the beginning. It was already created. You just made it into a breakfast. Did God create devil? What is devil? According to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Minister Louis Farrakhan, devil is a characteristic opposite of righteousness, which means we can all be devil. We can all think other than righteous, do other than righteousness. We have the ability to be God or be a devil by the doings of our hands and the work. It solely depends on what you choose to produce with the hands that God gave you. And whatever you choose to make or create, make with or produce with the hands that God made determines whether or not you're striving to be a God or you're striving to be a devil. It depends on your work. So understanding what devil is, we have to get out of spooks and ghosts. God is a scientist and God is mathematics. The word God means force and power. We all have force and we all have power to produce or to achieve goals that we desire for self. So we are God, yet we can be devil, depending on what you choose to do with the ideas that God has blessed you with. Do you take what he's given you to do evil with? Or do you take what he's given you to do good with? You make the choice and the decision for self. For the Christian family, I brought, and make no mistake about it, I love my Christian family, and this is why I have the Holy Bible. If you go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 26, it reads, God speaking, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. I'm going to stop right there for a moment. Genesis 2, Genesis 2, verse 26 says, God speaking, let us make man in our likeness and of our image. Who is God talking to? Why is God making a man in the likeness of a people and in the image of a people? Why didn't God say, let us create man in the likeness and in the image? Why didn't he say that? He said, let us make man in our. Who was our? The prefix and the suffix of our is something physical. If God is saying, let us make a man in our image, we're making a man in our image. What is the image of God? He's a man. And in the likeness of us. There's two components that we need to study, dear family. One is making man, let's make a man an hour. We're going to stop right there with the hour. The hour represent more than one. God is talking to a people as I am talking to you. Let us produce more SBB shirts. Let our team produce more SBSB shirts. God said, let us make man in our image. So this man that is God is referring to will be made in the image of God. He will be made in the image of a people. And not only would he be made in the image of God and made in the image of a person, but it also states he will be in the likeness of us, meaning the image of us. And then it goes on to say, let them have them. Look at God is talking to that man again. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air, over the cattle and over the earth. I'm going to stop right there, dear family. And I'm going to break it down. Let us make a man in our image and in our likeness. And we're going to give this man power over the fish. Ain't you eating foreign fish now? You ain't even eating original fish anymore. You see that plane spraying all that poison? He has power over the air we breathe. Aren't cattle being ejected with all type of chemicals and killing us with cancer and so many things? We gave a man power that we made in our image. And God is prophesizing to give him power for a protracted period of time. God is talking about making a man. So y'all been looking for devil in the sky some damn where, out of the contraption of the planet where there's no oxygen, and devil is made in the image and the likeness of God himself. And we're going to give him the power over what we created for a protracted period of time. Let's go on with the book. I'm coming out of the book of the scripture. The book goes on to say that we will give him power over every creeping foul thing that creepeth on the earth. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that a man visited North America. He was the long-awaited Messiah that was predicted to come. The scripture describes him as the son of a man. The son of man. He said that this son of man, according to scripture, will come from the east. There go that Arabic again. The man is coming from the east, the Middle East. But when I say Middle East, you think I'm referring to an Arab person. I'm referring to a black man. That Jesus described himself as lamb wool, kinky hair, skin brass and burnt. He will be coming from that family, this son of man. And he will come from the east onto the west, looking for a people that were hit in the head. There were people hit in the head. Let's go back to Willie Lynch. I want you to go get this book, Willie Lynch. He was a white man who produced this book. He teaches how he enslaved the people and hit them in the head and robbed them of their language, their culture, their religion. They still walk in the slave names to this day. Go get this book. This verifies that's written by Willie Lynch on what prophecy, what the Bible is prophesying and the people are fulfilling. So the Son of Man was coming for a people that were hit in the head and buried like shallow bones in a grave, dead to the knowledge of self, dead to the knowledge of God, dead to the knowledge of their own. And they will be enslaved by a taskmaster according to Scripture. This man that was made and he was given power for a protracted period of time in Scripture was revealed as the taskmaster. The task is a duty and the master is in control. So this man that had a duty that was given power by God because he was made in the image and likeness of us will have a duty to do. He's a task and he's the master. So in the times of slavery, they call the white man massa. Massa. Talk to me, dear family. But this massa will be given power over all things for a protracted period of time because he was to do a special thing for God himself. How was the black man and black woman going into slavery for 400 years a special thing? You think children being raped is special? You think men and women that was castrated and threw off ships and fed to the alligators and racism as we stand today is okay? God says, I know what you know not. He's birthing perfection in his creation. So this man who was called the taskmaster was given power to enslave a people for 400 years. I want you to listen to me and I want you to follow me, dear family. This taskmaster was given, and this is why Jesus said, God talking to Moses. Moses, there will be one unlike unto you in the last days. For I will come, which is considered the dreadful day. So if there's one that's going to be like Moses, we have to look at the description of Moses. And what did Moses go through? Well, Moses was a slave among his people. To God, according to Scripture, named Jehovah came and raised Moses up from among the slaves, and Moses had a stammering tongue. He couldn't talk elegantly. But God chose him and raised him up and told Moses to go to Pharaoh to tell the Pharaoh to let his people go. That was in bondage for 400 years. But God seen something that Moses didn't have no idea or couldn't see. He said, Moses, there will be one like you in the last days. This is not the last days, but there will be one like you in the last days. According to Scripture, Christian family. So, Moses was a slave. that was raised from among the people and became the people's spokesman. And that was one mission. His second mission was to go to the Pharaoh. Pharaoh only represents a government, a powerful government that controls everything. And when Moses went to Pharaoh, Pharaoh, according to scripture, was amazed at what Moses was telling him. So Pharaoh gathered all his priests at the table, meaning all the heads of states, and brought them to figure out who was this Moses and to watch him. And then scripture goes on to say, kill all the male and spare the female. You don't see that the prison is filled with black men and women and, black men. You don't see that the prison is filled with brown men and red men. You don't see the graveyard is filled with black men and brown men and red men. Kill the male, but spare the female. Moses, there will be one unlike unto you in the last days. Well, we got to look at the description. If Moses was talking to a powerful government and Moses was a slave, we move it up now. We move prophecy up. Who fit the description of what God said there will be one unlike unto Moses? Well, if there's going to be one unlike Moses, we have to match the description of Moses. A people have to be in bondage to a powerful Pharaoh, meaning a government or a people, a taskmaster. And God has to come and raise one from among the slaves like he raised Moses. The beautiful Jesus said. He was before his time. Jesus' fight was with the who? In scripture, the Jew and the Gentile. His duty was to civilize the Jew and the Gentile. Jesus never went to the black man to civilize the black man because he was a black man himself. He was going to a race of people to civilize them. But he said, I'm before my time. I must go expediently. But there's one coming in my name and in my spirit. So if Jesus is saying one will come in his name and in his spirit, and he must go expediently so that one can come, he said, I'm out of season because the prophecy hadn't yet been fulfilled of the people being in bondage like Moses' people were for 400 years. And this is why scriptures say this people will be in a strange land amongst a strange people for 400 years. And thou people who they serve, I will judge. See, these are people that's in a strange land, not of their own, amongst a strange people they never seen before. Moses people were enslaved in their land, among their people of that time. But the scripture reveals that there will be a people in bondage in the land not of their own, in a strange land. They never been here before, among a strange people, dear family. and thou people who they serve, I will judge. Goes back to that taskmaster. They will be given power and dominion over all things for a protracted period of time. And so if they're given power and dominion over a protracted period of time, they're carrying out the wishes and command of God himself by God's permission. Ain't that what we say? Whatever happens is the will of God. He is the author of death and he's the author of life. And who knows best what's best for the life other than the man who created life? So this man was made. He wasn't created. And he was made in the image and likeness of a people and God. But he will be given power. And he will enslave a people and rob them of their names, their heritage, their culture, and their religion. Was a Chinese man robbed? Was a Japanese man robbed? Talk back to me, dear family. Who were robbed of a name? You still wearing a taskmaster name? And you think you don't have the mark of the beast? And it says if you have the mark of the beast, you go down with the beast. This man that was made, that was considered a taskmaster. God made a man, and he made a man in the image and likeness of the original man, which is the black man. And he gave this grafted man power to do as he pleased for a protracted period of time. But God will come, according to Scripture, like a thief in a night and without observation, to raise a people that have been hit in the head and don't know who they are. It's like sort of like when you go against the nature of how to eat to live, you start getting breast cancer, you start getting all these funguses, and we start getting all these pains. You're going against the nature of something. So the body rejects it, and the body starts to convulse with pain and all this illness and ailment. Well, when God made this taskmaster to do a job, he made him to do this job for a reason and a purpose, because there's something that exists in us. God is perfecting God is perfecting his creation. Many of us don't know who God is, and many of us don't even know who the devil is. And this is why I say, if you don't know the times in which you're living, if you don't understand the times in which you're living, we are going to lose our life. You have to be in time. This is why Jesus said, I am out of season. He wasn't in time. But there's one coming after him, the second coming of him. But he will come in his spirit. So whatever that man was of 2,000 years ago, this other man is coming in the same spirit of that man who you love, performing the acts and doing the work of the Jesus, the Christ. And the word Christ only means crusher. The Christ is a title. It's not his name. The word Jesus in Arabic means justice. So Jesus is coming back to fulfill and to give justice throughout the land. Because right now we're living in hell. Everything is off course of its nature in which it was created. There's so much hell on the planet. And this is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches that heaven and hell is only states of mind, states of being, and states of conditions. When you're mad as hell. When you outside and it's cold, you cold as hell. When you ain't got no money, you broke as hell. When you get confused and don't know what direction to move in, you become frustrated and complacent. And anything that stays the same eventually dies. Where there's no motion, there is no life. My point is the meaning of hell. And the word heaven represents peace. Ain't it beautiful when you have a peace of mind? A piece of land that you could call your own. Money in the bank and bills paid are so peaceful. No drama around backstabbers and liars and thieves. So peaceful. As it is in the heavens, so shall it be on earth, according to Scripture. So a man was made, and he was given power. There will be a people in bondage, and there's a Son of Man coming now. The Son of Man, according to Scripture, is coming from the east unto the west to raise one like Moses from among them to teach them. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that, pardon me, bag it up, the Scripture reveals that the Son of Man will be in sinful flesh. I want you to go study what I'm telling you, dear family. Sinful flesh is the opposite of black. Because when you identify sin, if the original man is God and the opposite of God is devil, you look at who's producing so much mischief and bloodshed on our planet. Who's causing the problems? You see the color of that man? The Bible describes him as sinful flesh. Well, the Son of Man will appear in sinful flesh without observation. I'm going to show it to you. I'm finna show it to you, dear family. Without observation. Jesus said that Elijah will come to restore all things new. Matthew 17. Go research it. Somebody has to come after Jesus to restore all things new. Because this man, the son of a man, that will come in sinful flesh, looking like a white man, but he's a black man, and he's the God of our times. You could take it or let it alone. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that this man taught him for 3 years and 4 months, night and day. He taught him about every planet in our solar system. Which ones have life, which ones don't have life. He taught him about how the planets were created, how fast they spin, He taught him about the moon and the stars and how the moon was once part of the planet Earth and how it got into its orbit. He taught him about the people on Mars. This is why that sinful flesh man is going to Mars, and now he's claiming that there's other life on Mars. But you so spooked up like an alien that you forgetting that you're in the reality of a life. Because we were hit in the head and buried like shallow bones in a grave, dead, and then the taskmaster taught us everything we know, which is the opposite of God. This man didn't create the sun, moon, and the stars. I'll get to that at a later date. This is the son of a man that was to come from the east onto the west. I know it's mind-boggling for you. You can't conceive the thought. Well, if you're looking for Jesus to come back, he said he will come, didn't he? And the cold part about it, he has to come from the east because Jesus is from Palestine. Jesus is from where Kuwait is. Jesus is from where Iraq is. That's the Middle East. He has to come from the east onto the west, a human being made in the image and likeness of God. So this second coming of Jesus will come, he said, in his spirit. What is the spirit of the first Jesus? In total obedience to the will of God, under the instructions of God himself. Jesus didn't produce himself. Jesus didn't make the sun, moon, or the stars. Jesus didn't make your mama, your daddy, your brother, or your sister. Jesus was a human being that was in obedience to God. So when you seen Jesus, you seen God, because out of all the prophets, he was the perfect example. And this is why Jesus said throughout Matthews, don't worship me. Why y'all worshiping him? He said, worship him. Remember that him. Let us make man in our likeness and of our image. Worship him who sent me. Who's greater, the one who being sent or the sender? Jesus was a sent man to do a work for God. But the Son of Man that was coming from the east unto the west. And God said, Moses, there will be one unlike unto you in the last days. And so here we are in the west, buried like shallow bones in the grave, dead to the knowledge of self, dead to the knowledge of God, dead spiritually, dead morally, dead economically, killing one another. But one has to come and raise from among us to resurrect us from this dead mental state of mind. Because when a black man kill a black man, we say, man, we crazy. We killing our own. We dead, because you're supposed to love your brother like you love yourself. But we were hit in the head so cold, dear family, that we don't know who we are, and we don't even know who our brother or our sister are. So we set our women on tracks and we kill our brothers. And we leave our children to rotten. That's a dead people. We sell crack to our people to kill our race. That's a dead people. You thinking about dead in the graveyard. The people in the graveyard ain't coming back. There's no history that proves an actual fact that a man that died is coming back from a physical death. Prove it. Don't assume anything. Don't let nobody tell you anything. Prove your theory. And proven represents facts. See, when you die, right? Some of us say God took him home. God took him home. God didn't take him home. Something killed him. See, the white man, that taskmaster, he opens your mother or opens your father or opens your brother and he gives you the cause of the death. We think like ghosts too much and spookism. So you can't conceive or fathom the things that are coming out of my mouth because it's called supreme wisdom. This what was taught to us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Supreme knowledge. We know about the mother plane and the UFOs that you claim as UFOs, but we know who built it. That man taught us who built it, why it's built. They know the truth. In conclusion, dear family, because this is part one, I'm not going to be long. Did God create devil? And the answer is no. He didn't create devil. He made the devil. Two different meanings. And he made devil for a reason of perfecting his planet and bringing that which was in out and gave it physical form and studied it like a scientist on what it would do. That's what scientists do. They study mice and they study it it's called clinical trials. They produce something, study it, learn it, and know what's good and what's bad. Son of man came from the east unto the west and raised one from among us in the likeness of Moses. That Son of Man came here in 1929. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that he was in and out of America for 20 years before he made himself known. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said he taught him everything, the making of devil. And where did the devil come from? He taught him who the original man was. He taught him about the families on our planet. Who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, the God of the universe. Everywhere you go, black originated. The Chinese man come from the black man. The Philippines come from the black man. The Mexican come from the black man and woman. The Arab come from the black man and woman. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said he taught us the origin of Buddha. He taught us the origin of the Indian man, which is next to the black man. He taught us about the taskmaster. 6,000 years ago, Yaku, original black man scientist, grafted from the black man, the white man. I'll get into that later. He taught us of Jesus of 2,000 years ago. He taught us how Moses went to the caves of Europe to civilize the white man because they were ran into the Caucasus Mountains and they went on all four. That's why they like their meat rare. And their friend is their dog, and they will kill you and put you under jail if you mess with their dog. I'll give you the history on the taskmaster shortly. He gave us the time frames of the sun. What produced sun? What is the sun made of? They didn't teach you this science in church. They hid that in church. He taught us about the moon. And then he gave us actual facts. The total land and water of the planet Earth is 196,940,000 square miles. The circumference of the planet Earth is 24,896 miles. The diameter of the Earth is 7,926 miles. Producing land is 57,255,000 square miles. Water covers 139,685,000 square miles. Hills and mountains all over the planet Earth cover 14 million square miles. Deserts cover 1,910,000 square miles. Mount Everest is 29,141 feet high. Producing land on the planet is 29 million square miles. The earth weighs 6 sextillion tons, followed by 21 ciphers. The earth travels at a rate of 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. Light travels at a rate of 186,000 miles per second. Sound travels at a rate of 1,120 feet per second. He gave us the information on Mars and Venus. The Son of Man. He taught that man. And this is why they're talking about the UFOs now. This is why they're talking about the UFOs now. We ain't worried about the unidentified objects. They're my people. I know. I'm giving you too much at one time, and they told me give you milk because I'm choking you with this steak in your mouth. Stay tuned, dear family. This is part 1. Why, did God create devil, and why? Why did he create devil to do such a job to us? Stay tuned for part 1. I want you to share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and share this. Stay tuned. We're going to pick up Son of Man taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We're going to get into Malcolm X. We're going to get into Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm going to show you who is who, because you have to wake up today. This is the resurrection that Jesus said he would do. He would resurrect the people from the dead. When you come to your senses, you say, oh my God, I didn't even see that. Wow. A light bulb pops up on in your head, and you're no longer asleep. You alive, living. Stay tuned, dear family. It's your cousin P. We dealing with results, and we dealing with substance. Peace. Assalamu alaikum.